Rejection, haters, why are people so illogical? Why are people so fast to hate and judge and jump to crazy illogical conclusions? Well, I want to try and break it down today. So I'm going to talk about the fact that I had to go, that people are saying that that was fake. I'm going to break it down on a practical level, and then I'm going to break it down on a psychological level. Practically, these accusations just make no sense whatsoever. And they come from, okay, I'm going into psychology a bit earlier, but they come from people who have never created anything in their lives, people who have only ever worked a job or been on the dole, you know, because anyone who's ever created anything knows the archetype of that, knows the energy of that, and the energy one puts into it. Anybody who would think that I would take my YouTube channels down, and this is the biggest point, like, okay, I only took them down for 2 weeks, you might think, oh well, he'll earn more money from donations in 2 weeks than he will off posting. Not true, actually. English Refugee, when I was posting every day, was making just as much, if not more, in donations than I received when I went dark for 2 weeks and then came back and said, you know, this is why I went dark. If you can help me, please do. Absolute nonsense. But to think that somebody who was growing a channel, was posting on it every single day, would suddenly stop posting. Even now I haven't started posting yet, and I'm going to start again this Sunday, and I'm going to start doing 1 video a week, because I am so, well, it's not even a fear, it's just I cannot share my location. I cannot share like I used to. I love sharing. I'm an open, honest being who just wants to share everything, who just wants to do good in this world, who wants to help people by sharing himself, sharing what he's learned in this life, and sharing the truth about what's going on in this world. And these people have no idea what authenticity is, have no idea what that energy is, where you just want to create and you just want to be honest and you just want to be open. So they think that I would rather destroy a channel that was growing really well, stop sharing, stop showing my authenticity, go down to 1 video a week, so every video on that channel was making me $30, and that would, by now that would be $50. So at the time, $30 times 7, what's that? $210 a week I was making off English Refugee. Now I'm going down to 1 video, so I'm going down to $30. So I'm going to lose way more than I got in donations. And then there's a whole growth side, which for anyone who's an entrepreneur will know, that is the shit, that's the drug, that's the dopamine kick, that's why we do it. But obviously these people don't understand that, because they can't create. They're in scarcity mindset, they're in victim mindset, and that's the only level they can perceive from. So in this situation, which obviously they would never be in, that's what they would do. You know, they would scam, they would lie, they would come from a disempowered place where they don't believe they can grow anything and create anything because they can't, and therefore they would try some scam, they would try the short term. I mean, that's the difference, you know, this short term thinking as opposed to long term thinking, and this knowing and this trusting that you're going to make it on YouTube. I already had made it on YouTube. I was making $2 grand a month. So anyone who thinks, and I just hit that, you know, Not Today Satan had got 10,000 subscribers in the week before I went dark. 10,000 in 1 week. It was blowing up. And you think I would take it down to then, and then, you know, again, it's, I don't lie. I might get things wrong sometimes, but I don't lie. Like, you have no understanding of spirituality. You have no understanding of where I'm coming from. You know, I'm not in this material world anymore. I'm not. It's just so laughable to me that people would think I would lie to make, I think it was 1,500 quid. You know, and it's just, and I would be so disempowered that I would think that I need to do that. Like, it's just fucking mental. See, these people won't watch this channel. They won't watch Shadow Surrender because it's just way too much for their puny little broken, indoctrinated, narcissistic minds. But you know, if they did, and they won't get it, so this is totally irrelevant, but you know, I'm all about learning to trust. I'm all about letting go of control. I'm all about stopping manipulation, stopping narcissism, which we're all narcissists, we're all indoctrinated to be narcissists. You know, I'm all about coming from that place to a place of openness, a place of trust. And you know, if you can't see that from my videos, then that's on you. You know, that's because you have a very low level of consciousness, a very low level of perception. And of course, that's the only place you can perceive from. So you have to project from that place onto people like me that are showing you so much more, that are opening so many doors for you. But because you can't go through those doors, you have one of two options when you watch someone like me. You can either go, fuck me, he's way more conscious than me, way wiser than me, way more successful than me, lives a way better life than me. What changes can I make to become more like him? Not like me, obviously your version of me. But to do that, you have to go through a shitload of shadow work, which no one wants to do because no one wants to feel themselves. They want to stay in the external, they want to keep watching TV, they want to keep a crappy job, they want to keep smoking, they want to keep drinking, they want to keep shagging, whatever it is that distracts them from the journey. Essentially feeling yourself, because you have to feel to heal, and nobody wants to feel themselves because they've had a whole life of repression and they don't know how to do it, and it's very painful when you start. This is why we need tools like ayahuasca or peyote or magic mushrooms to help us start moving these energies. You know, they're like the spiritual sledgehammer that the Westerner needs. The other option you have is to make me wrong, is to make me a liar, to project onto me, and of course that's what 90% of people do. Now, luckily there's the 10%, luckily there's the 10% that feel me and feel my message and feel what I'm doing and totally get it and want to support it. Thank you so much to those guys, you know, thank God for you guys. It's not even thank you, it's just thank God for you guys. Like this world, when you're a conscious being, it's a very lonely world, because you get to the point where you're just not interested in validation enough from retards, validation enough from normies to partake in society, you know. Like, I mean, that's essentially what everyone's doing, you know. They're just seeking validation, attention, confirmation that they're not a retard, and you know, they choose that over truth or authenticity. That, you know, that is essentially what is happening in this life. And when you become of a higher level of consciousness, when you start doing the work, like really doing the work, you feel the distortion of it, and it actually, you know, it's actually like physical. Like when I'm around normies, like I get physically exhausted, and it's just not worth it to me. Like I don't care enough about their opinion of me. I mean, I don't care at all, but you know, as I was going through the stages, you know, I cared a little bit. And you know, this applies to my family, you know. Like I love my parents, and I'm so glad that we have the relationship that we do, even though we live in completely different worlds. You know, they do a really good job of, you know, managing to maintain the relationship, because I will choose authenticity over them every time. I will choose God, myself, source, connection over them every time. You know, I would happily be disowned by my parents for this journey. You know, there's no question for me, no question. So if you then dilute that down to the level of friendship, or I mean, friendship doesn't even really exist in this world, it's more associates that validate your insanity. You know, obviously that's just totally meaningless to me. That's why all gurus, all sages, all very wise people end up basically isolating and living alone. This is why Osho got to a point where he just refused to speak to any of his followers and just sat on a stage in silence. You know, there's just no point partaking anymore. You know, there's nothing that anyone can give you that is greater than what silence can give you, because in the silence you will find God. Do that by surrendering to the silence, and by surrendering I mean learning to feel yourself, like literally, you know, surrendering through feeling, and then as you learn, as you feel, you heal. Your kinks are removed, and then you can become a conduit for consciousness. I honestly think that I have such a low opinion of myself and so little self-respect that I would lie to all my subscribers to make a quick buck. Like, that's you, that's what you would do, and that's the only level you can understand from, therefore you're projecting it onto me. I would never ever do that, and I didn't need to do that. Like, how can you not see that? Look how many subscribers I've got. Look at all, I mean, I could show you, in fact, fuck it, I'll put it up here, you know. I don't really want to show this. Because the egoic part of me is worried that if I show this, people will stop donating, because they're like, fucking hell, that's how much money he's had. But you can actually see in the last 28 days, okay, people did put money into my bank as well. It was about 1,500 quid, I'll be totally honest. In the last 28 days, I've had £800 odd in donations. I've had my buy me a coffee for, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. This is how much money I've had donated. I didn't need to lie. People were donating anyway. What a retard! Hopefully, obviously, you know, most of the retards, most of the people who are already projected onto me, projecting their very low level, lying, scummy consciousness onto me, they'll just keep doing that. But I really hope that this awakens a few of you, because the truth in this video and the clear logic, the just the clear truth of my situation that I am sharing with you, which I know you can't perceive because you work in an office and you sit under LED fucking lights all day, then you watch a blue screen all night, you drink poison, you probably put some poison in your arm, you're beyond it, you're gone, you're finished. Spiritually and probably physically very soon, especially if you did this one. So, I know there's no hope for most of you, but some of you, maybe one of you will actually see the truth and the potency of this message. That's my hope. But also it's just confirmation that I don't think the people who support me and get me need it, but just in case there is anyone who's doubting, like, hopefully the clear logic of what I'm sharing and the fact that I would never ever destroy English Refugee. Like, I was loving English Refugee. It was it was a bit tiring posting every day, but that channel will be 100,000 followers within a year. And this is the other thing that these people can't understand. They only understand failure because they've only ever failed at everything they've ever done in life. I believe in myself. I know that I'm going to be a huge success. Like, there's no doubt about it. I've done it so many times in my life. I've been a millionaire before and then I've lost it. Yes, it's all part of the journey. It's all part of the reason I am the man I am today. The challenges come to teach us. The reason I am so wise is because I've had a lot of challenges, a hell of a lot of challenges. Like, challenges that, I've lived 30 lifetimes in this life already, like, compared to your average low consciousness baby soul person. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth, And yes, it's painful. Yes, going to jail in Thailand was painful. Yes, losing my business in Thailand was painful. Yes, losing 2 businesses in England. These things shape us. These things are the reason I am the man I am today. Since the whole people trying to kill me thing, I've stopped smoking weed. I've pretty much stopped smoking cigarettes. It's just happened naturally because there was an emotion that I didn't want to feel within myself. There was an emotion that I was avoiding, hence the weed smoking. And when your life is under threat, and the fear that puts upon you, I went way past that emotion. So it's been felt. And essentially, I think that's why it happened, and a few other things. I'm now way more able to see what's going on in this world. It's taught me a lot on a practical level. There's less getting past me. I've known completely for 3 years now that Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Nigel Farage, all these are complete actors and puppets for the same system as Tony Blair. But I pretty much knew Tommy Robinson was as well, but it was just that little part of me that was still holding on, that little part of me that still had some hope in people like Tommy Robinson and Rupert Lowe. I'm sad to say, yeah, I'm really sad to say. But yeah, I've seen through all that through this situation. So yeah, these things all happen for a reason. So don't avoid. When the shit happens, lean in. Like, ask yourself, what is this here to teach me? Not why is this happening to me. What is this here to teach me? Because it's always here for your greater good. I can absolutely promise you that. So, big love, take good risks. I don't even know what to say to the retards, just either feel the potency and the truth of this, or just carry on being a retard and live in a miserable victim existence. It's your decision.